that's where we're finally realizing we're so exhausted that it's
guys, you're in the best spot ever. You grinded because you loved it.
Yep.
Now you've decided you love it a little less. Now you can travel a little bit because COVID's like, you just want to live a little bit.
So how do we get over that whole like perfectionist control thing?
When you realize it's a company, not you guys. The saying I'm sorry to a mistake is more powerful than not making a mistake. Do you know why I'm never scared? Because when I find that we made a mistake, I call the person, I apologize, I make it awesome. You know what can fix your fear? Refund people. I do it all the time.
Around the room, like I mentioned before, we're going to start with Big G Movers over in New Jersey and get to the bottom of what they're looking for. So Tracy, Big G, you're up.
All right, so I tend to ramble, so I'm going to try not to do that. We have been in business for 10 years now. We stumbled upon the moving business basically just out of need for survival.
Yep.
Long story short, so started out needing something to do quickly to get him back on his feet again. And it was him and a friend and a small 15-foot truck. And here we are 10 years later with a fleet of 7 trucks and 25 to 30 guys during the busy summer moving season. Yep. And all that to say, it is still just him and I wearing every single hat, doing every single thing, stressed out, maxed out, taking this as far as we possibly can.
How much revenue is it doing?
Revenue numbers are all you.
It's up there. It's you know, the cost of everything has gone through the roof, so profit margins, but about 5 million.
And profit? I
Over
know
$1 million. Over $1 million.
Over 20% on a 5 top line.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. And
so
that includes, do you take a salary and then do dividends or no?
Strictly salary for Tracy, and I'm a helper, worker, driver, all that type of deal.
Where does the profit go?
Wearing a lot of hats. Well, say it again.
Where does the profit go?
Back into the business.
Straight into the business. And you know, we just we've had a lot of, you start off with used trucks and upgraded. We finally got a brand new truck.
Very first brand new truck.
The money's gone into the assets. That's where the money sits.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Correct. Only money taken out of it is a very modest salary for myself.
Makes sense.
And we're doing well. I mean, it's his last couple of years have really taken off, but we're at that level where it's like we need there's not enough time in the day. You know, we have a family of 6, a blended family of 6 kids, and it's just like, you know, colleges and everything else going on in sports. It just becomes.
I hear you talk all the time.
You're making the cliche mistake of not hiring the right hand.
Yeah,
correct.
That's exactly right.
Not hiring anyone. We tried 3 times.
Yeah, we did. The hustle only goes so long, and right. I'm feeling it now. You know, we grinded for many years, and we're at the point where we definitely have to help. Right. You know, we're asking for help.
Why did the 3 times fail?
Okay, so for the longest time, we sold ourselves the story of people are buying us. It's Gary and Tracy's story, literally like the cliche American dream from like below, nothing, building this out of survival mode to wow, like you guys built a life and made it. The comments like, when's the TV show? Like when are we getting
personal attention, me coming out, you know, the same an hour later after them calling, doing an estimate and booking it 95% of the time.
The thing that is always shocking to people about my company when they realize I did the complete reverse, even though I was me.
Right. So we're kind of.
You know why? You know why?
No.
Because the reason you're over it is you don't need it for your self-esteem and ego anymore.
Interesting. Yeah.
So what people don't realize is there's a subconscious element, because it's such a gorgeous story and it feels good for you. But I did it by creating awareness about me, but it not being my business model. You made it your business model on top of it being your story.
100%.
Yeah.
And so you just need to unwind that now. And good news, you're only scared about, do you remember the boogeyman or like a witch or like whether it was skiing or kissing a boy or girl or swimming or riding a bike? Literally the only thing that is fucking you up right now is fear.
100%. 100%.
And I would argue that the reason the 3 people failed was you weren't ready.
Correct. You're on the
No matter
money.
how good, bad, or indifferent they were, you needed to get to this point, even by listening for 2 sentences, you needed to get to this point to actually now set that person up for success in a meaningful way.
I don't know how to get over, like I was saying to Joe, we're literally cutting the cord on the baby that we birthed. That's what it feels
I'll
like.
tell you. I'll tell you how you do it. The next time you talk as a company, an ad, a video, the website, like the next time you do anything about the company, it's gonna be a different story. Ricky Thompson in Clifton, New Jersey, doesn't give a fuck about you two.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I know you touched upon it. Like, what happened to the ones we did hire? Like, I jumped in with all my effort for literally 6, 7 months,
Yeah.
side by side on the phones, letting him listen to me. Booking, it was going well. I maybe just bad luck with his health. And then we're recording and hearing the messages when I wasn't there, and I was like, let me step away, let him do his thing.
Good.
And then hearing it, it's just
That's the part I don't know how to get over, that cringe of like, I wouldn't
Long,
have said that.
right.
It's an awkward, I don't want my,
Well,
like,
you didn't potentially compensate enough for the right kind of person.
correct. That's probably what it is. It was a wrong person, maybe not the right.
You don't understand. You weren't
We
ready.
were looking for that unicorn. Yeah.
You weren't looking for a unicorn. You were looking for a unicorn that was selfishly filling you.
right. We're looking for
You were looking for
us.
something that was not only us, somebody that you didn't have to pay that much, or at least not like,
You're right.
right? Somebody that
Yeah.
you weren't, somebody that you didn't have to pay that much, that you weren't going to give equity to.
Right.
Yeah.
That
Well, you're right.
was going to take no shine away from you. You were looking for a selfish unicorn, which is different than looking for a unicorn.
True.
I am not denying one word that you are saying.
Listen, this is the beauty of like being around small businesses my whole life. Like, I really know this shit. And like, I'm so pumped for you guys, not because I'm pumped because I'm on fire here and nailing it. I'm pumped because you're ready.
we
You know how
are
fast,
ready.
you know how fast you can make this work by giving some kid, the 27-year-old you, 5% of the company that he or she earns out over the next 3 years, who's going to double the business, and you're going to have a problem on the other end because he's going to come to you and be like, you were fuck faces. I took this business from 5 to 10 and I only own 5%. What are we going to do about it?
And then the other question is, like, when we do pour the gasoline on this, we like put our own brakes on it, because then it's like,
you can't
where
handle
are
it.
we getting the guys
Right. Labor
to service
shortage.
the moves,
Yeah,
right?
The news on
babysitter.
that, that's going out in 12 seconds. You're going to have people that work at Verizon right now making $200,000 a year driving trucks for you in 6 months.
Mm.
You have no problem on that. That game is about to come over in about another 8 weeks.
Good
The
to
cat's
know.
out of the bag.
Because we have many
Labor shortage is
multiple-
not going to be your problem going forward.
Great. Because we have multiple. We're
And
ready
then
with the
there's,
trucks.
you know, it's an industry problem. Thankfully, that one is not just our problem.
Yeah.
No, that's an American problem. The government printed unlimited money.
Right,
Now that money's been deployed into more dumb shit.
right. All
And it's
right, so
gone.
then I won't use that excuse anymore.
That's definitely not an
because
excuse. You won't need
That's
to.
been a good one for me.
Yeah, exactly. That one is, to your point, I love how you said that. Good for you. So here's what I would say. Be prepared to give up 5% of the business. Be prepared to give up no percent of the business in the first year. Hey, Carl, we think you're the guy. you get, we're going to give you this is a 3-year deal. You're going to come in. We're going to pay you this salary, more than you're accustomed to. This is your investment instead of into a truck, into your fucking happiness. If you crush, like, we have to fire you because on the 366th day, according to this contract, you get 2.5% of the company. And on the first day of the next year, you get another 2.5%. And then at the end of the year, not only do you get the salary, but in the second year, you get 2.5% of the profits at the end of the year. And the same thing in the next year. And there are a lot of people running around New Jersey that will do that deal, that are better than you two.
That's where we're finally realizing we're so exhausted that it's
guys, you're in the best spot ever. You grinded because you loved it.
Yep.
Now you've decided you love it a little less. You got the 6 kids and you want to now you can travel a little bit because COVID's like, you just want to live a little bit.
So how do we get over that whole like perfectionist control thing?
When you realize it's a company, not you guys.
Here's something that
I give you a huge insight. The saying I'm sorry to a mistake is more powerful than not making a mistake. Do you know why I'm never scared? Because when I find that we made a mistake, I call the person, I apologize, and I make it awesome. You know what can fix your fear? Refund people. I do it all the time.
And that's just it too. That's why we have a 5-star reputation, because we do whatever it takes.
Want to hear something awesome?
Right.
You want to hear something awesome? If you had 4 stars on Google, your business would be twice as big. The company
that could easily happen. That could easily happen.
Ready? Actually, it doesn't have to easily happen. If you give somebody 5% of the business, that is a 28-year-old you, it won't happen.
Gotcha. Here, you just stirred up something that we've been discussing for many years. It's the oldest gentleman we have with our company. He started with me and grinded. Yeah. And he should have been off the truck 5 years ago, but we continued, we increased his pay. So he's doing estimates on the side, he's doing customers on the, after hours, weekends, making additional money. So he has a good life, a good living. We owe it to him in a sense, but he should be the one that should be a percentage owner of the company.
Get him off the truck.
But he would have to be retrained. It's not something where he does it the way we want. We're kind of stuck with him. So I don't know if that's the right guy, but I don't want to just put him behind a bar and shoot him.
There's a part of me that says he's not. There's a part of me that says he's not, but you give him 1% because he's family at this point and he earned it.
Oh yeah.
And he's your eyes and ears and double verification system.
You nailed that. He knows it better than anybody else.
Right. And he acts like us when he's out there.
I give him 1%. I give the new person 4 or 5. And that 1% is for thank you / you're gonna help this kid succeed.
My head is already like, you have just the percentage of the company is something we have never talked about.
Well,
it's been commission. We're always like, well, we can give them this much commission.
Right.
It's a philosophical POV. It's your religion. That's why you haven't thought of it. You're entrepreneurs that are like, we don't give up equity of the business.
Right.
Right.
10 years in, Gary, we have a Christmas party. We want to give him something like, oh my God, you're staying with us for 10 years and dedicating your life. I mean, what better Christmas gift? Right. It's done deal. You nailed it.
It means something to him. He gets an extra bonus every year at the end of the year on top of everything else.
Right.
Because that 1% profit interest is going to matter.
You're right. It's huge.
James can lead to a bunch of Jersey business lawyers or stuff like this. Is a great strength of his, what I just talked about. So I'm sure he'll help.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Cheers.
All right, we're at time on you guys. So we're going to go switch over to Rob now.
Pretty cool what happens when you just take a different perspective, like how it unlocks every single issue.
Amazing. Thank you.
Of course.
Rob, you're up.
Oh man, that's quick. Okay. So I don't know if you need any more context.
I need no context. No.
Okay. Let's do it. Squeeze this lemon.
What do you want specifically?
Oh, sorry, you said no context. So here's the big thing that I think
Meaning
about.
I know a ton about you, but what's the current question at hand?
Gotcha. So we as a family are having a lot of fun. Right now making probably around 80,000 a year, just making social media content, which is insane. But when we talk to people that seem to be really in the know, like a mutual friend, they're saying like, it should be way more than that. And so for us, it's not about necessarily making more money, but we don't want to leave stuff on the table either, so that we could do some of the fun things that we want to do. So for example, like my kids are designing shirts that they want to sell now that, so whether or not we sell a lot or a little, it doesn't matter. It's just kind of fun. Down the road, my wife wants to renovate a house in the small town we live in, like houses. So TLC was interested, but we said no, because that's not the brand for us. Like, we don't want it to be about us. But another production company is pitching to HGTV about the small town renovation and that kind of life. So there is some of that. We want to do more media, but definitely a certain brand of it. So I guess the big question is that, of course, keep doing what we're doing. I just feel like, it seems as I talk to other people, I just want to make sure that I'm not blind to what I don't know. If there's things that we can do to level up, that we want to be smart in doing those. So, at 1.7 billion views, we haven't put any money, like we haven't paid for any advertising at all. We haven't paid for any I think promoting videos. Yeah.
How would you like to make your money?
See, that's a tough question. I think I like to have the option. I think me personally, I just love new things. So and so that's really hard to say. So if we want to do a coffee shop in this small town, and so I love to make money that way. I love to make money selling t-shirts. I love to make money, a brand coming and say, hey, do a video for us, we'll pay you 10,000.
So why don't
that's
you
fun.
It's similar to the last question. Why don't you do what the D'Amelios did? They brought in my friend Greg, who worked at UTA as their business manager.
Mm-hmm.
I think, do you want to be the business CEO, or do you want to still be part of the content creative process? And that's what you have to decide, because everything you just mentioned are all viable.
I don't think I'm good enough at business.
But then you need to hire somebody. We'll help you.
Yeah, that's a question. Yeah, because it's like
You have a sense of if I said this is 100% right, which is what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You have a sense based on how much money you are making, what you'd be willing to pay that person on salary, and then give a commission of the deals, what feels right in your stomach.
Yeah, I mean, some of it, because right now I'm just trying to think, I'd have to take a look to see what we could give up. I'd be willing to give up, as an investment, anything that we could, as long as we can still buy food for the kids and clothes.
You pay $150,000 a year in salary?
Well, I mean, we would, but right now we're making like 80,000 a year.
Right. I don't know your savings. I don't know your humility of selling stuff. I'm asking backwards now.
Okay. Yeah, we just don't have that much in savings.
That's awesome. So 75K, yes.
Because
don't forget, the concept there is, if you bring in a killer at 75, and they're out there, she or he generates 330 for you. She makes 10% on the 330. She gets 33 and 75. You're pumped.
Yeah, of course.
You're gonna have to make that bet.
Okay. And so right now we don't have an agency. That's one of those things. So when you say,
I don't want you to have an agency. I want you to have a business person internal that lives and breathes the family.
Okay.
Because you won't go from 80 to 300 without it.
Okay. Yeah.
An agent, you're going to be one of many. I want you to be their only child.
Okay.
Joe, James, Julia, I'm thinking former VaynerTalent people, something we're talking about. I'm not sure who, but 75K. Let's talk to Hannah. Let's talk to Dio. Let's talk to Steele. You guys and gals can kick around some. Let's think about some people. Remind me where you live, Rob.
So it's called Greenville, Illinois, just small town of 7,000, 45 minutes east of St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the answer, brother.
Yeah. And that's and so that's the only way as far as like making additional income. Now, sorry. I mean,
that's not the only way. The only
Okay.
way is somebody who's a business person to be running the
Yeah.
business.
Yeah, and I think we need that, because I don't know what I don't know, and I think, you know, it's fun. Like, I love to spend time with the family. I'm not always like, I like to try things and just for experience, but I'm not the guy that's going to figure out the bottom dollar, Excel spreadsheets, that kind of stuff. It's not my world at all.
Or know how to get $38,000 out of, you know, almond milk.
Yeah.
Or know how to do the creator fund on Snapchat where you're making 63K from your impressions.
Yep.
Business person.
Yeah, that's exactly what we need. Yes.
You're stuck because the agent you'll lose more on.
Okay.
You'll waste time and energy. People are always scared to have somebody and pay them because they're like, oh, I'll get an agent, they'll take 20%. I have nothing to lose. What you have to lose is they're not going to do anything.
Yeah.
And you know, another year lost of your relevance.
Yeah. So as far as platforms go, TikTok ebbs and flows. It was our biggest, you called it a long time ago. In the last year, YouTube has gone crazy for us. Like in the last year alone, we grew 500,000 followers, 500 million. I'm sorry?
Because
all
it's
shorts.
Yep.
Yeah, we've done some long form content, and it just takes a lot more time, and it just doesn't get the views. But our shorts, like one short has like 160 million views.
How you doing with Facebook Reels?
So we couldn't get anywhere with Facebook Reels as far as getting the ads turned on, and so we started. So we actually are going to work. Well, Jelly Smack. I don't know if you know the company. They basically are running all of that for us now, and then we're splitting revenue.
Okay. You know, where my hesitation is on that is just because you can't monetize the revenue doesn't mean you shouldn't take the attention. Alex DeSimone will be too expensive, I think, James, but he should meet him. Alex DeSimone's a great name. He won't take 75, but he might take some. I like him a lot, James. So, and I like the Tall family a lot. So there's maybe a scenario where they pay him a certain amount and I'll kick in some money of like guaranteed revenue from marketing. Like, yeah, that's a good name. Definitely reach out to him.
Yeah, and I get that with on Facebook, and so we kind of felt stuck, and again, not no, we're just trying to figure out ways to get going, and so like, yeah, with the Jelly Sacks scenario, it felt like we just weren't doing anything there anyway, and it felt like trying to get some traction, and so that may have been the wrong move to go, but
I'm just that's not a big deal. That's like a splinter. In a world of cancer, your cancer is you don't have a business person.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
We'll get on it.
Okay.
There's really nothing else to say. I mean, we'll keep going because there's really nothing else to say here.
Yeah.
I know too much about how much good quality creative you have. You should be doing everything with anything that touches big and tall culture. Like there's a ton of business. Yeah.
So do you think coming into and you know, 3 years ago, I mean, we only started this 20 months ago, but I did take your advice and went on LinkedIn and messaged every company I could think of that, and even, you know, any product that we use at all. But we nothing. I'm just, the last thing is like that never led to one deal. Yeah.
Because you're not good enough at it.
Yeah.
Which is okay.
Yeah.
I got F's in school. You know, it's what I didn't know at the time, nor did you really, were you a natural salesman? It's okay that you're not.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
But you need one.
Yeah. All right. So next step, should I reach out to Alex?
No. I just DM'd them right now, so I'll take it from here.
James, Joe, and Julia are going to gather, strategize.
Yeah, we've got this whole thing recorded. We're taking notes. We'll be doing the reach out, and we'll reach back out to you, Rob. We'll take the next step for you.
Okay. Love it. So totally curveball, because I maybe have one more minute here left. So how do you feel about Lava Resilient Red Devil still?
I feel like I'm going to build the next Sesame Street meets Pokemon, and that everybody that has a VeeFriend will be happy with me that I did. And obviously the Red Devil is super hot in our world. So it's better to have Pikachu than it is to have Schmikachu.
Yeah. No, all that's it. Like, and I took your advice. I sold everything. We made money on NFTs, and so the Hollow Wizard 1, Hollow Wizard 2, and the Red Devil. They're just sitting there until my kids kill me off.
The Hollow
Yeah.
Wizard is a monster.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
Series 1 Hollow Wizard. It's a monster.
Yeah, it's fun.
If I'm right, even halfway right, it's a monster.
Yeah. No. All right.
Just
So,
all right.
yeah. Thank you so much, Gary. Thank you.
Joy, go ahead.
So I know since you have to go, mine really is about how would you reverse engineer the situation. So traditionally, electrical contracting companies, so really like service and make the money and go. So we kind of stumbled in over COVID, making this sports media content as a result of our kids and all our kids' friends. And so what I know, like my family's a big sports family, so 4% of the kids make it pro, no matter what athletic sport they play. But they invest all this time, right? And I know that 50% of the front office staff in pro sports make over 100K. But there's really little information about the pipeline for kids to get there. They have to go to college usually to even make it in pro sports other than basketball. So you're dumping money into that with the hopes of getting picked up, and many don't. So they end up with debt and bum jobs and really no segue into a life in sports after they played sports for 8, 9, 10 years.
As you know, go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, so in starting this small sports content thing on TikTok and YouTube, again, just fell into it. I started looking at, okay, how can that gap be bridged? Could we do a media company that has like creator games and the kids actually get hands-on experience and being coaches and VP of personnel, almost like, I guess, ESPN and X Games, theirs is in reverse. But, and because I come from such a very traditional service world, I'm like, okay, how do you make a business that scales and makes money? I know Vayner started with community engagement. Is that the same as like a bajillion eyeballs and then sell? Because that seems very
No,
lofty.
you've got a big advantage. It's going to all these Fortune 500 brands and saying, hey, remember 24 months ago when you guys all committed to giving so much money to Black-owned businesses and you haven't done any of it yet? Well, hello, I'm here, and look at this space. And hey, Under Armour, hey, Procter & Gamble, hey, Pepsi, hey, fuckers that you all talk that big fucking game. Write me a $500,000 check to be the sponsor of my fucking thing. Joy, you will not believe how many people will do it. I live in this world. They're very concerned that they haven't wrote the checks that their mouth said they were going to do, and that the Wall Street Journal or Ad Age are going to call them out. So
should we do the play of having kids make like 12 to 17, having them make content?
I apologize, Joy. Joe, what she needs to do is create a VCon, right? Remember the volleyball lady from the last meeting?
Yeah, Tara.
She needs to create her Super Bowl of these, right? Her game, her weekend, her thing. She needs to figure out what the cost of that is. It's going to cost me $219 to put this on. And she needs to make a deck, and we need to help because we love to make that deck sellable to somebody for $400,000.
There you go.
Now she's got all that money. She spends some of that profit on filming everything, making unlimited content. And basically you're in the media events business, Joy.
Yes.
You use the content to now put you in a position for me to give you the business track of you should do an event. You got to make a badass deck, but you have a big advantage, my dear, which has not been a historical advantage in this country. These companies are in a bad fucking place. They've made big commitments and they have not delivered. And with my cosign, we'll get you meetings.
I'm there. So is it the way you think about the content in the event, is it really in terms of Super Bowl, or is it all the games as well leading up to the big Super Bowl? How do you think about it?
I think you need to do an event. Like, right? Like,
Okay.
I don't think you got it like that yet. I think you could pull off a weekend, but I don't think you're ready to have like a league.
Yeah. Okay.
We start small. Let's do the, youth con, or youth bowl or whatever you call it. I don't have all the details. Obviously, we're just starting, but basically this weekend, where do you live?
Virginia.
Love it. Literally you know, I'm trying to think of brands. North Carolina, obviously Atlanta, but those are more expensive. I like Virginia. I think you could do it there. I like Charlotte a lot because the suburbs of Charlotte, you can get the proper field. Brands like it there. There's brands there. And you put on a fucking Olympics or whatever the fuck you're doing, you know, like an event. And let Pepsi pay $50,000 to put their logo on all the fucking gear. And you'll give them content after the fact. Once you got the big one, you go, now you get the 25K from Piggly Wigglies and 25K from Bojangles. I'm on the board of Bojangles. I'll make sure I help you.
Okay.
Now you're on your fucking way. You have a business model.
Joy,
Great.
do you lean a certain way from a sports perspective? Or are you more towards basketball? Because Maryland and Virginia as a combo, tons of talent in that region. Like it might be a great place just because based on the high schools alone.
Yeah. We're like football, basketball, you know, pickleball is starting to, you know, I was talking about pickleball 2 years ago and everybody was like, no, I'm like, don't sleep on pickleball. So I'm not married. I mean, we are big football and I think DMV in general is like, we want a football thing because we don't really have one. But I'm open to whatever it needs to be. We have kids who are doing like lacrosse and all of them end up in the same bag. And so I'm open to whatever it needs to be for it to win.
Cool. We'll give you some help for sure. As Gary mentioned, we'll help you build a deck and we'll get you guys running for sure. That's awesome.
Thank you. Write it down. So $10.
I know you got to get going, Gary. Is there anything else that you want to impart upon Joy or any of the other guests?
Yeah, Joy needs to make it clear to people what they're getting. We're gonna have these in the morning on Saturday, 8 teams put together by my crew, compete, then it's 4, then it's the final 4 at night, then the championship games in the morning, then we have a keynote speech about building these kids up in life. Here are these 4 speakers. You know, we got to make a real events deck, Joe, and I feel like you can find the Robert Souza, James, you have your hands in all the alumni of our history here. The Souza this and the Kim Garcia that and a million other things I know you know, James. So just help her make that proper deck. Then I'll come in and help her get the meetings for the sponsorship. And then she has a business model. Then she's going to taste blood in the water. She's like, oh shit, okay. If I get more eyeballs on my content, then I can charge more next year. And she's got something.
Yeah. Very cool.
Will do.
And by the way,
Thank you,
Rob, that's what a business person can do. Like if I'm your business person, I'm like, why don't we create TallCon at the Javits Center? Everybody on earth who's 6'7" and over, come. Oh, Gary, you're over 6'7"? 6'8"?
6'8", I qualify. That's where the big G comes from.
We might be
Not
both
big V, big G.
we might be both Gary, but we're a foot apart.
Like back
I
in the
know
day,
you look up to me.
you read stories about left-handers. You could go buy golf clubs and baseball.
But you know what I mean, Rob? All of a sudden, you can imagine how if you're making a piece of content every day of like TallCon, you know, Chicago, Hilton, 2023, every single person that it's in your bio, every person that sees a viral video, you know what they're going to do? Gary's one of those 6 mixed kids is going to see it. They're going to send it to Big Gary over there and be like, you should go. You know, like humans, one of the biggest issues in society is tribalism. The reason we have race and gender and religious issues is people like to team up with their own. You know, a tall conference would be fucking cool. Jokes about being pissed at company. By the way, you can start really making change when you do something like that.
Gary, can you guest speak at a tall conference or no?
I think I'd be eliminated, brother. But you know what's cool about that? 5 years in, you could like change the laws of like how much airplane space there is. Like you could do shit. I keep thinking about the things that culture hasn't gotten to. Like, so I've been obsessed with this concept of beauty privilege. You know, people talk about like white male privilege. They talk about wealth privilege. There's no bigger privilege in our society than beauty. Right? I'm like, when are they going to get the pretty people? Then I think about like, who are we going to support? Like being tall, like real tall. Like there's a lot of challenges with showers and flights and like real shit.
Yeah, I got some bumps.
So some fun stuff like that. I just think about where the winds are going to blow.
Yeah, and for us, and we don't want to try to be like altruistic, because that's not, I mean, we are, but what we found is that everyone thinks that tall people like have it made. And so the amount, like my girls who are tall and skinny, and I was skinny until I was like 30 years old. There's nothing they could do, but the amount of time she's told to eat a cheeseburger and stuff, and how basketball coaches expect more out of the tall kids. And so, and it's not about that, but that's one of the gifts that.
If we're going to worry about people's self-esteem, we should worry about every variation. We're aware of what a poor kid's self-esteem issue is. We're aware of what a dyslexic kid's self-esteem is. We're aware of a black or brown skinned in America self-esteem, a Jew in Europe self-esteem. We know about these things. I don't think we talk about someone who's 6'7" at 11, what their problems are. And by the way, I'll go the reverse. When your entire life's value system is predicated on how attractive you are, you should see what happens to these people at 40. There's no greater decline to depression than somebody who's ripping attractive up to 40, and then they start losing their self-worth and start doing all sorts of plastic surgery, all sorts of shit. If you've been told your whole life you're you're something because of this, you can fucking change a lot of things. Father Time's undefeated. So I like these conversations. It makes us more compassionate and thoughtful. I look at every person on earth, every moment I move, and say, I think about my children, incredibly wealthy, right? I'm like, I would die if I was Xander, die. Knowing that everything I accomplished in life forever, people would say to me, yeah, but GaryVee, your dad did it. That sucks. If you're capable, it's one thing if you're a schlemiel and you're like, fuck it, at least I got a nice life. But if you got it like that, so everyone's got something. And until we realize that, there's nobody, when I generalize and stereotype, by far, the people that I think are most upset are rich white dudes. And you never hear that. But I've been around the world, and I can tell you, it's a really tough group. There's a lot of bad behavior holding up those facades. Insecurity is real. So anyway, love you, gang. Thank you.